What is up, bros and broettes? I am Inkslasher, and today we are going to be doing a full review of Weekend 1 of the Black Ops 4 beta. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because, like I just said, this is a beta. And in a beta, the developers are looking for feedback to improve their game. So anytime you tweet at them and tell them, hey, this isn't working properly, especially when it's constructive feedback, when you tell them how you'd like it to be fixed, that actually does help the developers and help them make Black Ops 4 that much better of the game. So the vast majority of this video is actually going to be me talking about the things I didn't like in the beta. But that being said, I have to preface this entire video by saying I really enjoyed Weekend 1 of the beta. This is the most fun I've had playing a Call of Duty game since Black Ops 3, and I like most of the things that they've added into the game. Of course, as you're going to find out by this video, there is some problems with it, but for the most part, I enjoyed the beta. But one of the reasons why I think I enjoyed it so much is because I didn't have a lot of the problems that other people did. People were complaining of lag, frame drops, crashes, and connection issues. I had none of that. On the Sunday, I believe it was, I had one game while I was live streaming where I dropped a couple frames. Other than that, no problems with connection, no problem with frame drops. I think it crashed once, and that's actually when they ended the beta on the Monday. When they closed it down, the game crashed then. That's the only time I really had problems. So I hear all of you complaining about these frame drops and stuff. It's gonna happen. It's a beta. Those are the issues they are really trying to iron out here, and hopefully none of that is in the game at the official relaunch. And for those of you wondering why these frame drops, lag issues were happening, a lot of people were saying it was because people were playing on normal PlayStation and the game wasn't optimized for that. It was optimized for the PlayStation Pro. That wasn't the case for me. I was playing on a regular PlayStation and wasn't experiencing any of these issues. So what it sounds like to me is it was just really hit or miss. Some people were experiencing it, some people weren't, and hopefully going into the second weekend of the beta, that's eliminated at least for the vast majority of players. Now, some of the things I'm going to address in this video are things that people have complained about that I disagree with personally, and the first one is the time to kill. I've heard so many people, YouTubers, streamers, people just on Twitter, talk about how the time to kill in Black Ops 4 is bad. Personally, I very strongly disagree with this. Now, the big thing is you're allowed to have your opinion, and if you don't like the time to kill, that's okay. But please, give me a reason why you don't like the time to kill. So what I mean by this is I have a very long and fleshed out reason why I actually enjoy the longer time to kill. The problem I have, though, is one of the most viewed reviews for the beta has almost 700,000 views as I'm watching this, is by a guy named Optimus. And basically, he titled the video, Black Ops 4 beta sucks, and he keeps saying over and over and over again throughout the video that he hates the time to kill. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad.
The biggest problem with this game is the time to kill. It is ridiculous. It takes like 6 bullets to kill somebody in this game. I mean, there is absolutely no reason that this time to kill should ever be featured in a Call of Duty game. It's horrible. It can take like half a clip to kill somebody just if you're spraying or you're trying to maintain aim on them as they move around. There's no reason that this time to kill should be this high. It needs to be shortened. I say it needs to be cut probably about in half, but as it stands right now, it's ridiculous.
Notice how during that entire thing, he didn't say why he doesn't like it. He just said he doesn't like it. It needs to change. It takes 6 bullets to kill. All observations, not reasoning why he doesn't like it. Now, it would be pretty hypocritical if I didn't give you the reasoning why I actually like the longer time to kill, so here it is. First of all, I think it adds a skill gap that we've never really seen before in Call of Duty. It adds a gap where if you're a better player, can get more targets to the head and chest, you are generally going to win that gunfight. Whereas in previous Call of Duties, it kind of just depended on who saw the other person first or who started shooting first because of the extremely fast time to kill. Now, the one complaint that I find actually kind of legit about this time to kill is that it seems if you run into 2 or 3 people, it is very hard to kill all 3 people because that longer time to kill. But this is where decision making comes in. Do you pop in, kill 1, pop out, heal, and then go back in for the second 2? Or do you just kill 2 and then run away? It adds another decision to the entire gameplay that I really like to see and is really going to separate the good players from the bad players. But I get that may not be for everyone, and if you disagree with me, feel free to give me the reasoning as to why you don't like that longer time to kill down in the comments. I don't think you're necessarily wrong for thinking that. I'm just curious why you do. For example, one of my subscribers over on Twitter sent me the reasoning that he doesn't like the longer time to kill is because he is from Saudi Arabia, he often plays on worse connections than other people, and he finds that with the longer time to kill, and because of his bad connection, bullets aren't registering and he's losing gunfights he would have won in previous games because less bullets actually had to hit, and it's easier to hit less bullets on a worse connection. However, that's actually not a problem with the time to kill, that's a problem with the connection. If the connection's fixed, the time to kill would be fine. His problem there is with the connection. But the point is he's coming across and actually explaining why he doesn't like the long time to kill, as opposed to just saying, it's bad. So if you do like it, if you don't like it, let me know down in the comment section what you think of the time to kill. I'm really curious to hear what all of you have to say. Clearly Optimus doesn't like the time to kill. We don't know why, but actually now he may like the time to kill because 3 days later he made a video saying that the Black Ops beta is growing on him. So who really knows? Anyway, I didn't even really want to talk about time to kill in this video. I just kind of got carried away. It's something that I saw in the community, something I wanted to address, but now that we are here, let's talk about the thing I hated the most in the entire beta, and that goes out to body armor. Body armor essentially allows someone to spawn in with 1 extra bullet of health for the first gunfight that they get into. Now the problem with this is you are randomly getting into gunfights with people with more health than you. On top of that, if you look at all of the other abilities in that skill tree, so your ComSec device, your equipment charge, your acoustic sensor, and stim shots, none of those actually affect gunfights. None of those give bullets extra power. None of those make it so you flinch less so you can aim better. Even stim shot only helps you after you get into a gunfight. Body armor actually helps you in gunfights. It's the only one of them. And I don't even necessarily think that in gunfights it's necessarily overpowered because of how good stim shot is, but it's just simply annoying. We've seen for years perks come into Call of Duty, like Juggernaut, like Painkiller, like all of these things that come into a game and end up getting removed because they're annoying. There's a reason why Juggernaut's not in the game anymore. There's a reason why Painkiller was one of the most hated things in Modern Warfare 2 and has not been in a Call of Duty since then. Another thing is that I've heard a lot of people argue in favor of the body armor by saying, well, Crash actually overheals characters so that they have 200 health instead of 150 health. The big difference there is that when someone has 200 health instead of 150, their health bar, the end of it, is actually glowing bright orange. And when you see that person, you see, oh shit, they have more health than me. I can shoot them or I can run away because I might lose that gunfight because they have more health than me. Now I know for body armor there's the indicator when you actually shoot them, but aside from that I don't know if there's an indicator above the health bar, around the health bar. If there is, I haven't noticed it, but all in all I don't really want a fix like this. I don't want every weapon to have AP rounds because I don't want to have to use it on every weapon. I just want body armor out of the game. On top of that, Treyarch has put out a statement saying that they are going to be adjusting the body armor in the game. They're just not 100% sure what they're going to be doing with it yet. So once they actually put out a statement on that, I'll put out a different video letting you know what I actually think of how they're changing it, whether they're getting rid of it altogether. I'll let you know when that actually happens. The next thing, and something I haven't really seen anyone complain about, it's spawning in at the beginning of the game. Now, sometimes this works flawlessly, but other times I don't even get to pick a specialist character. Basically, it just spawns me into the game with some random specialist character. I don't like that. I like to be able to pick my specialist character and then get into the game. On top of that, I don't like how after you pick your specialist character, it doesn't go to the pick a class menu. It simply goes straight into the lineup of specialists that your team is actually choosing. Instead of going to that lineup right away, open up the pick a class menu, then I can pick my class, then we can see who's playing on the team. I have spawned into the game so many times using the wrong weapon for that map because it doesn't open an option to choose a class right away like every other Call of Duty game in the history of Call of Duty has done. Another really small thing that I think would be pretty easy for them to fix is that in the kill cams, it doesn't actually show you what class the enemy is using. It doesn't show you the weapon or their perks, and pretty much since we've had kill cams, it's always shown us what that person is using. It's a little annoying thing. It's not the end of the world if they don't add it in. It's just something I would like to see added in. The next thing, and the thing that bothers me almost as much as body armor, but not quite, is the score streaks. If you ask me, the score streaks just are so underwhelming in this game. None of the score streaks really make me go, yeah, let's earn that. Let's really grind it out, get a couple of those tonight. None of them do. The one that I somewhat enjoyed was the Mantis. When I was actually driving it, it got some kills. The problem, though, is it moves ridiculously slow. So even the Mantis, I think, needs a buff. Speed that bad boy up and make the AI on it a little bit better. The problem is none of the other score streaks really work that well. Even the HCXD, the RC car, is really difficult to drive, gets stuck on corners, and I know they have addressed this, saying that they are going to be making the score streaks better, but the problem I have is that there is really no new score streaks in this game. One that you could argue is new is the Mantis, but it's almost exactly the same as the AGR dating back all the way to Black Ops 2. There's nothing new that makes me go, oh, that's cool, let's try to earn that, or oh, that's really good, I could use that. So not only do I think the score streaks need a buff, I think they also need to cost less score, and on top of that, they need to add in some new ones that I've never seen before, or at least make me want to go, yeah, let's get those, that's going to get me a lot of kills, because as of right now, these score streaks are less rewarding than actually getting specialist abilities. For example, Nomad's attack dogs a lot of the time gets me more kills than any of the other score streaks, even the gunship sometimes. So I know, Treyarch, you're already buffing the score streaks. Just take whatever you're already doing to them and double it. I don't think they just need to be a little bit better. I think they need to be a whole lot better. Another problem that I had written down here is the fact that the lobby load times are like 2 minutes as opposed to like 30 seconds in other Call of Duty games. It takes you a lot longer to get from game to game. I don't like that. I'd shorten that time down, and also the load times were very long. But Treyarch has came out and said that the load times being as long as they are is actually a glitch, and they're working on fixing it, so that's great. I'm glad that they're already on top of that. Now, another thing a lot of people were talking about was the sliding and bunny hopping. People were saying that you slide too fast and you can jump around too much. Now, it didn't really bother me. To me, it was just the movement mechanics in this game. It was a little bit nuts, a little bit fast, but to me, it was just whatever. But they are changing that. They're making the jump height a little bit lower, making you slide a little bit slower. So I think it's good that they're addressing that because the community didn't like it, but to me, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're not flying everywhere, running on walls, I think we're perfect just the way we are. Another thing that people were a little worried about or hesitant about at first is the minimap, the Fog of War. They didn't really understand how it works, but basically the way it works is every single member on your team actually reveals an area around them in basically a circular radius. I believe it's about 7 to 8 meter radius, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Now, the downside to this kind of screws over sneaky players. Basically what happens here is if you get close enough to the enemy in front of you, all of a sudden, even if you are behind them, it'll show that you are there on the minimap. They can turn and kill you. So don't bother going to try to melee that person. They already know you're there, basically. This I think they should fix, because the thing is Black Ops and Treyarch have come out and said they're trying to help out run and gun players, and a big thing when you're a run and gun player is flanking the enemy, getting behind them. This mechanic makes that very difficult, so I think they need to adjust that just a little bit. On top of that, what I think they should do is simply make the vision that is revealed on the screen a cone going forwards from wherever that player is looking. I think that would work perfectly fine for that minimap, for that UAV. And if Treyarch is worried about this whole idea of everyone flanking everyone, people not knowing where people are, that kind of thing, a way that they could kind of improve that is just make footsteps a little bit louder. All in all, I actually think they did a pretty great job with the footstep sounds in this game. I can pretty much tell where people are most of the time around me, but if they make them a little bit louder, it makes you a little bit more aware of people are, and it will kind of do the same kind of thing as revealing them on the minimap, but it will take a little bit more skill to recognize it. That's something they could look at. I know not everyone loves loud footsteps. It's just an idea and something they could look at if they're worried about everyone flanking everyone. The other thing that I complained about that I don't actually think is that bad is the Seeker drone. This is Prophet Seeker drone. Basically, he throws it on the ground, it tracks someone down, and zaps them. Turns out that you can counter it super easily by just pressing square when it zaps you. It's super easy to counter, and I was wrong about that one. It's not overpowered. I said that in one of my first videos, so I take that back. One thing that I didn't talk about in that video is the spawn beacon. So this is Seraph's ability. Basically, he places down a spawn beacon, and then your team can spawn in a circular radius around that spawn beacon. It looks like a tactical insertion. So basically, in a large circular radius around that beacon, your team will spawn in there. Now, it spawns them in the best possible spot, in other words, a spot where someone's not looking at them, but that doesn't always work properly, and basically, I think it was Drifter that said this, is that in the alpha of the game, that's not how the spawn beacon worked. The spawn beacon basically turned on a bunch of spawning points around that beacon, and you would spawn in whatever the best is possible. As of right now, I think the spawn beacon is probably one of the most powerful abilities in the game. It allows you to push objectives incredibly strong. It even allows you to respawn and search and destroy, which is, once again, something I think they should nerf. But as of right now, it is a very strong ability that I think needs to be adjusted, because if you're playing domination, the spawns are constantly fucked up, and I think it's because of the spawn beacon. I'm not sure about that, but it's something that really needs to be addressed. Now, I did notice throughout the weekend, I think they buffed or nerfed spawns just a little bit, because it seemed like they changed from the first day to last day. So I think they really are adjusting spawns, because by no means are they perfect as of right now. They need a lot of work. That's something Treyarch needs to work on. I just don't know all the coding behind that, so I can't really give any advice on it. But my personal guess is that one of the reasons why the spawns are having so much trouble is because of Seraph's spawn beacon. And the final thing I wanted to talk about, and something I'm not 100% sure on what I think about, is the user interface. So the user interface is very different in Black Ops 4. It uses a cursor, kind of like Destiny does, almost like you have a mouse on the console. A lot of people really hated this, some people liked it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't mind it whatsoever. I'm used to it from a game like Destiny. The one problem is I think the cursor moves too slow. I think that you should be able to adjust the speed of the cursor, and that would fix a lot of people's problems. Other than that, I got used to it in a matter of an hour or two. I don't think it's a big deal whatsoever. The one thing I will say, the reason why they've put that in there is because it's easier to code one type of menu. When they create the PC version for this game, they have to make it so it's cursor friendly. So if they make it console friendly without a cursor, they then have to make two separate user interfaces. So by making only one interface, they cut down on work and make it easier for the team to develop more things. So personally, I don't really mind the menus. I get that some people hate them completely. The thing that I would recommend to Treyarch to make them just a little bit better is, once again, add that sensitivity to the cursor to make it so you can move it around a little more quickly. The big thing when I used to play this game on console for any other Call of Duty game, I could navigate the menus so quickly because I just knew what buttons to tap. With this, the cursor only moves so fast, so to improve that, just up the sensitivity on it or make it so I can control the sensitivity on it. The only other thing I could really complain about is the ABR was a little bit stronger than pretty much any other weapon, but I think they're already addressing that, already balancing it. It's not really something to complain about. It takes them a while to get the weapon balancing perfect in any Call of Duty game. So that's my thoughts on the beta. Those are all the things I didn't like. Pretty much everything else that I didn't mention, I absolutely adore. I love Treyarch as a studio. They've made some of my favorite Call of Duty games of all time. I've loved Black Ops 2, 3. So I really like to see them change things up and make things new. And I've been really, really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to playing it on Weekend 2. And of course, I'll make another video like this after Weekend 2, addressing them once again, the things that I think, again, need to change. But as of right now, those are my thoughts. Those are the things I didn't like. Let me know what you think down in the comments. What parts of the beta did you love? What parts did you hate? Did you get to play the beta? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. I'm sure this video will get a little bit of hate because I'm giving out my opinion on it. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of my Black Ops 4 videos. Also, I'm sorry this video was so long. I went on a little bit of a rant about Time to Kill at the beginning. Sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out. Paradigm.